So today, I'm going to share with you 3 contingent cargo strategies for freight brokers in 2022. Now, let me explain to you what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over basically 4 primary things. Number 1, we're going to talk about what is contingent cargo insurance. I don't want to assume that you all know what it is, so we're going to go over that. Number 2, is it required? Are you required as a freight broker to have contingent cargo? Number 3, I'm going to share with you the 3 strategies on how I suggest you deal with contingent cargo as a new freight broker. And number 4, I'm going to provide you a short list of well-known, established freight broker contingent cargo providers, people that actually provide contingent cargo and that you can reach out to and get additional information. So those are the 4 things we're going to cover today. So we're going to start with first, what is contingent cargo? Now, whenever you're talking about insurance, you're talking about basically what you're purchasing is legal defense. So contingent cargo is really this. It's a policy that is designed to protect transportation brokers against the liability assumed when making arrangements for moving cargo for others. Okay. So, and again, contingent cargo legal liability provides coverage when a trucker's primary cargo insurance policy fails to assume the responsibility for cargo loss or damage. Now, these policies respond to the legal liability that transportation freight brokers assume under the law. Okay. So it's a policy that helps you with any sort of legal liability associated with cargo insurance, right? So you got to understand that. But again, it's contingent. It's not primary. The carrier's cargo is always primary. The broker's cargo insurance is always contingent. Okay. Now this is important. What are the benefits of having contingent cargo? Number 1, what you're really purchasing is expertise in legal defense, because in the event that you have a contingent cargo policy, that contingent cargo policy holder, that insurer, is going to defend you. So they're going to provide legal defense in an effort to try to help collect any monies that trucking companies' cargo insurance do not pay out. Okay. So they're going to provide legal defense, and they will also assume liability in the event that it falls into the parameters of the policy. So contingent cargo policy can be a great tool. So that's what I want you to understand up front. That is what contingent cargo policy is. All right. That's what contingent cargo is for a freight broker. Now, number 2, do freight brokers need contingent cargo insurance? Now, by the law, by the FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, freight brokers are not, let me say that again, they are not required to have contingent cargo insurance. Now, why would somebody get a contingent cargo policy then? The reason why people will get contingent cargo policies as a freight broker is because some shippers require it. It's a prerequisite by the shipper in order to do business with them. So if you don't have contingent cargo, you can't even bid on their freight. There's no way they can tender you loads. You need to check that off the list because it's a requirement by the shipper. Now, what I want you to understand is some shippers require contingent cargo, but many do not. I'll tell you a personal story. When I first got started as a freight broker back in 2003, 2004, I did not have contingent cargo insurance. I don't think we got it for the first 3 to maybe 5 months. I don't remember exactly, but I know that we did not get it out of the gate. We did get our shippers without contingent cargo. And I know that there are students that have launched their businesses in the last 6 to 12 months that have also gotten shippers without having contingent cargo insurance. Okay. So it's a choice that you have, but it's not required by law in order to become a freight broker. All right. Number 3, I'm going to go over with you 3 options, 3 different ways that you can handle this whole concept of contingent cargo. Number 1, you could do it the way I did. You could approach shippers in your niche without getting the coverage, without paying for the coverage. You could approach them. You're going to find many people that are going to allow you to bid and allow you to be a provider. And you're going to find a bunch of people that are going to require it. But the fact is, you can find shippers and start generating cash flow without a contingent cargo policy. I want you to understand that. That's something very important. So number 1, you can approach your niche without the contingent cargo and then make note of all of the companies you run into that are willing to work with you if you have contingent cargo, because later on, if you choose to get it, you can always come back to those companies and let them know that you've now fulfilled that. And chances are they're going to give you an opportunity to work with them. Okay. Number 2, you can go out and you can bind and get and purchase a contingent cargo policy. Typically, the requirements from most shippers are a $100,000 contingent cargo policy. You can go out and purchase that from a contingent cargo insurance company that provides that type of coverage. Typically, those policies cost somewhere between, let's call it maybe $1,000 and $2,000 per year, depending upon the company, depending on the type of coverage, depending upon the nuances associated with that coverage. Okay. So it's usually an annual premium of somewhere $1,000 to $2,000 a year is what it would cost. So if you go out and get that contingent cargo policy, at that point, anytime one of your shippers asks you, or one of your prospects asks you if you have the coverage, you'll have a certificate of insurance that shows and validates that you have an active contingent cargo policy. You'll be able to check that off the list and it will not be an issue. Now, some people choose to do that. If you have the cash flow, if you have the financial wherewithal or the resources, then maybe that's a good play for you. But if cash is tight and you're trying to bootstrap your freight brokerage, you can take option number one and you can go out and start approaching those shippers. And who knows, there's a very good chance you can get some shippers without contingent cargo. So that was number one. That was number two. Number three, there is another option. It's not my favorite option, but it is an option. Now, there are many load boards. For example, Truck Stop and the DAT for sure, both of those have insurance that you can purchase on a per load basis. That means that every load, if you want to buy insurance on an individual load basis, you can insure that individual load. So there's pros and cons to that, right? The pros are that you're only paying for it with the specific shippers that require it. The cons are it's a little bit more expensive because you're paying it on a per load basis, right? So both the DAT and Truck Stop have that option. There's also a couple of other options, including LoadSure.net as well as Freight Guard. So those are a couple that will provide insurance on a load by load basis. That could be an option for you, right? So that's another one. All right, so those are the three strategies. Now, number four, here's the last part. If you would like a list of some of the top contingent cargo insurance companies that offer contingent cargo to freight brokers, here's all you got to do. Go into the comments and let me know, and you simply type contingent cargo providers list, right? Type something like that in the comments on this stream or wherever you're watching this. Let me know that you want that. And I'm going to have somebody come back in here and message you a link where you can actually download that list. Okay. I've got a list right here of a whole bunch of providers, including their names and websites and all that information. So if you're searching for contingent cargo, I definitely can help you out, save you a lot of time. And all you got to do is comment below this stream and let me know that you want the list of contingent cargo providers, and I will gladly send that off to you. Now, if you are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, and you're just looking to get started, you've been bouncing around Google and you've been bouncing around YouTube and you're just trying to put all this information together, let me save you a whole bunch of time. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. It's my online startup course. We've helped over 10,000 people. We went through that training. We have a 100% unconditional money back guarantee. We've been in business over a decade. I can't make it much easier than that. Make sure you check that out again at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this training. Make sure you join me every week, Mondays at noon. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, get the notifications, and I'll see you next week.